Metallica against the CIA, the All That Remains scandal, and Iron Maiden shines some light on what will happen after their glorious Paris disaster. Metal is life and well, so let's see what keeps it going today. Here you go. Metallica against CIA. A few days ago, Metallica guitarist Kirk Hammett walked on stage wearing a t-shirt that read "Taylor Swift is a CIA psyop," which, in case if you wonder what a flip it means, it's basically a joke based on an internet conspiracy theory claiming that Taylor Swift's enormous popularity is somehow the result of a secret government psychological operation designed to influence public opinion, and this theory has been going on around the internet for quite a while now, and needless to say, there were absolutely no evidence of this actually being true. Up until this week! Now, first of all, well, of course, this t-shirt caused quite an outrage among all these Swifties around the world, with social media immediately exploding and plenty of Taylor Swift fans taking aim at Kirk and even calling Metallica a has-been band, which of course no one really cared about. Until something happened this week, as just a few days later, during Seek and Destroy in Dublin, Kirk slipped off the stage and fell straight into the crowd, which the internet of course immediately declared to be a Swiftie karma. But for those who don't believe in karma and don't believe in coincidences, there is actually another, more reasonable explanation. Somehow, no one has ever seen Kirk wearing that t-shirt once again, and even Kirk himself had to joke about it afterwards, posting "Slip and Destroy," which in my opinion only proves that all those conspiracy theories about Taylor Swift being a CIA psyop are actually 100% true. And this was all a governmental operation for Kirk to keep his mouth shut. Super cool, guys. Just wanted to point out that if you still haven't subscribed to this channel, I would really appreciate if you would spend just 1 second and do so. And especially if this is not the first video you're watching on this channel. And yeah, I know that most people who watch YouTube actually rarely subscribe, but the truth is that it would really, and I mean like really help me grow this show. So let's continue building this amazing heavy metal community together. Ozzy Osbourne's throne. Birmingham continues to collect the memorabilia of his biggest legends. And this week it was announced that Ozzy Osbourne's legendary throne will actually be a part of the Black Sabbath exhibition at the Birmingham Museum of Art and Gallery. Is your life real or just pretend? And yeah, in case you guys wonder, it's not a replica, and it is that same throne on which Ozzy Osbourne sat during the Black Sabbath final performance Back to the Beginning at Villa Park Stadium in Birmingham last year. And according to Sharon Osbourne, it feels fitting that this throne would be placed in the museum, where every fan who loves Ozzy would be able to see it. Although they might have to actually hurry to do that, as it will actually be available for public only from July 1st until September 27th this year, when this exhibition ends. And here, a huge shout out and thank you to all my patrons and all of the YouTube channel members. Guys, in all honesty, I would never have been able to keep this channel going if not for your support amidst all the craziness of living here in Ukraine. A star-studded Venom tribute. Venom's Mantas and Abaddon continue to celebrate the band's legacy, and this time with an even more star-studded lineup of guests. King, hear you! On June 23rd in Uppsala, Sweden, 2/3 of the Venom Classic lineup were joined by nobody else but Behemoth Nergal, Morbid Angels' Dave Vincent, Dark Funeral's Lord Ahriman, Rotting Cry's Sakis Tolis, and the local legend Wotan's Eric Danielson, to continue the celebration of the 45th anniversary of Venom's legendary debut album, Welcome to Hell. Released back in December of 1981, Welcome to Hell laid the foundation for pretty much all of the extreme metal genres and made the Newcastle Trio pretty much the childhood heroes of everyone whom they're inviting to join them on stage right now. So all those guys whom I just mentioned literally owe everything to Mantas and Abaddon. And honestly, I can't even imagine what it might have felt like seeing all those guys together up on one stage.
Let's do it! Oh yeah?
But at the same time, I just have to point out that all those guest appearances are freaking awesome, but I think, just think, that there is one other guy whom I'm more than sure pretty much all of the Venom fans would actually love to see on stage together with Mantas and Abaddon. Don't you think so? Hellfest honors Brent Hinds. Hellfest continues to honor the fallen. After last week, the French metal festival revealed the statue of Ozzy Osbourne. They also paid a tribute to Mastodon's Brent Hinds, another metal legend whom we sadly lost last year in a car accident just weeks after he left Mastodon. As was shown by the guitarist Bill Callagher in social media, the Hellfest tribute to Hinds was not a statue, but a colorful stained glass piece, and Brent Hinds 1974 to 2025 inscript under it, which of course is a rather big deal, especially after the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination last year decided to absolutely ignore Brent Hinds' passing, despite actually honoring a bunch of other metal legends. Five Finger Death Punch's anniversary album. Five Finger Death Punch announced their 10th studio record titled Legacy, which will be arriving digitally as soon as in a month on July 31st, with CD, vinyl and cassette editions following on September 18th, featuring 10 brand new tracks, including their first single off of it, De Oppresso Liber.
I won't be a pawn in anybody's game.
And the title Legacy is no coincidence. This year marks the band's 20th anniversary, and according to guitarist Zoltan Bathory, the album reflects the band's entire journey over the last 2 decades, while vocalist Ivan Moody says it's just as much about where Five Finger Death Punch are headed next, which is pretty much exactly the same thing any band would say about their next studio album.
I'm wasting here, can anyone watch it all?
But the coolest thing is that this album will be supported by a massive anniversary tour. And you may like this band or not, but what I really do like about them is that on this tour the band continues their tradition of giving back. As in addition to everything, they announced that a portion of ticket sales from the North American leg will go towards supporting US Olympic and Paralympic athletes as they prepare for the 2028 Los Angeles Games. And when it comes to the European leg of the tour, well, I have no idea if the band will give any money to charity, but I do know that they will be touring with Lamb of God and Bleed From Within, which in my opinion is actually a pretty cool bill. And now the time has come for your favorite part of the video, so let's take a look at 5 latest metal releases from this week, which although did not get their own segments in this video, are still definitely worthy of your attention.
Bring the Horizon released Dehumanized, a brand new song created for Count Your Blessings Repented, the fully re-recorded 20th anniversary edition for the band's debut album, arriving July 10th. Produced by Oli Sykes and Lee Malia, with mixing by Buster Odehome, the track serves as an entirely new addition to the release rather than a re-recording. And it also closes the album by connecting the band's deathcore roots with where Bring Me the Horizon are today. Floor Jansen released Run, her first new soul material since the 2023 album Paragon. Jansen describes the song as an anthem about refusing to make yourself smaller to fit other people's expectations and instead choosing your own path. The single also marks the beginning of a new chapter in her solo career, ahead of more music to come. The Who released Grey Hun, another preview for their upcoming 3rd studio album Hun, due on July 24th via Better Noise Music. Guitarist Ankush revealed that the song began with the image of a lone rider crossing the West Mongolian landscape before evolving into a message about staying true to yourself. Italian power metal band Frozen Crown released The One, the first single from their 6th studio album The Legend of the Six Kings, arriving on October 2nd via Napalm Records. Inspired by the fantasy world of J.R.R. Tolkien, the song introduces a more narrative approach to the band's songwriting while taking their sound into darker territory than previous releases. Deep Purple released Guilt Trippin', the final single ahead of the band's new studio album Splat, due July 3rd via Ear Music. Frontman Ian Gillan revealed that the song imagines a conversation between God and Charles Darwin over a drink, as they reflect on how humanity has turned out.
The Phil Labonte Scandal. So here's the thing, earlier this month, Phil Labonte of All That Remains sparked quite an outrage saying that therapy is for women and claiming that men solve their problems exclusively through actions rather than talking. Which, needless to say, sparked quite an outrage among pretty much everyone who's heard that, with many fans and musicians calling his comments irresponsible and pointing out that many men have transformed their lives through therapy. And so this week, Phil Labonte decided to respond to that criticism. And of course, as expected, instead of walking it back, he doubled down on his claim, saying that studies show therapy actually works better for women than men, and basically claiming that this is a fact and not something up for a debate.
And that's a fact.
And here's the thing, you know guys, I rarely talk about such things, but this time I actually feel like I have to, especially since I am working closely with quite a lot of military guys being in Ukraine. And so, first and foremost, this is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I actually tried to find that study he's referring to, and guess what? At least I couldn't find it, and all the studies on the matter that I saw online showed absolutely zero correlation between men and women going to therapy. And the only thing that people kinda agree on is that therapy works better for those people who actually seek therapy. And no, in no way I'm saying that therapy is for everyone. I mean, therapy may work and may not work for someone, you know, for men and for women. But claiming that therapy doesn't work and it is a fact while sitting in your room wearing night vision goggles, obviously for no apparent reason, is honestly the cringest thing I've seen in a very long time. So please, guys, don't listen to some random dudes who have no idea what they're talking about, and actually do whatever is best for you if you are in need of help.
You don't think that men should talk about their problems, you don't think that men should do this and da-da-da. I didn't say that. I said that therapy is for women.
Troubles in Anthrax. Well, that's a bummer for all the thrash metal fans, as this week, New York thrash metal veterans Anthrax drummer Charlie Benante announced that he will be missing the band's entire European festival tour this year because of a hand injury. And according to Benante's message on Instagram, he will miss all of the Anthrax shows until July 4th to give his hand a proper time to heal, as his doctors ordered. And here's the craziest thing. I'm actually hoping to see Anthrax at Rock Imperium on July 4th, and I can't believe that they will be Benanteless at that show. But nevertheless, the show must go on, and until Charlie is fully healed, Darby Todd will fill Charlie's shoes, just like British drummer Ordy did earlier this year, when, just as a reminder, Benante could not perform together with Anthrax because of his commitments with another band, Pantera, which of course most Anthrax fans weren't too happy about. But nevertheless, the most important thing is that it seems that when the Anthrax long-awaited new album Cursum Perficio will finally be released on September 18th this year, Charlie Benante will already be in his best shape, and Anthrax will go on a support tour for this album with their own drummer. And so at this point, all that we metal pilgrims around the world can do is just wish the legendary Charlie Benante a speedy recovery. Cause come on, that album is literally one of the most anticipated albums of I don't even know how long now. And with all due respect to Darby, I mean, we all want to see just one guy behind the kit when it's time to promote it on the road. Ignea dreams of lands unseen. Ignea has released the first single from their upcoming studio record Monumental, titled Dreams of Lands Unseen. And honestly, it freaking rocks! The song looks back at the Cold War space race, while the video was shot in black and white, using vintage lenses to recreate the atmosphere of classic sci-fi films. And even more remarkably, the cosmonaut suits were actually borrowed from Kyiv's Alexander Dovzhenko studio, and many of those historic costumes were sadly destroyed by a Russian strike just weeks after filming that video.
Tell them I hate them.
But nevertheless, if you are a fan of modern metal, and if you still haven't heard of Ignea, well, definitely check them out. Now, I'm not only saying that because they are my friends, but because their music actually does rock. A fallen roof at a metal show. Accidents with metal band have become an epidemic. And seriously, after Iron Maiden and Metallica suffered some problems during their shows, another act, Death to All, decided to join the list. As this week, the Death Tribute Project show in Essen, Germany had to be stopped prematurely because the ceiling in the venue literally started falling apart. As the band wrote later on their social media, luckily the venue crew handled it professionally, everyone was safe, and after the ceiling was fixed, the show resumed. So yeah, come on, it's not that big of a deal, just a ceiling falling down. The brave Silent Planet. American metalcore band Silent Planet performed 2 concerts in Ukraine, becoming, if not the first, then definitely one of the few American metal bands to perform in the country since the full-scale invasion began. After the Kyiv show, the band shared a very emotional message talking about meeting Ukrainian fans, including a soldier who had lost a leg in the war, but still got out of his wheelchair to join the mosh pit, and promised that this definitely won't be their last time visiting the country, especially after their latest release, which was released as a campaign for Ukrainian children affected by the continuing invasion and occupation of Russia. And here's the thing, I wasn't really able to attend that concert for whatever reasons, but on behalf of all Ukrainian metalheads, I just want to say thank you to Silent Planet and to Fine Amisto who organized this event. Seriously guys, I know for a fact that your support meant the world to so many metalheads in Ukraine, and especially for the guys from the front lines who took a couple of days off just to witness that concert. So once again, thank you guys on behalf of all Ukrainian metalheads. Iron Maiden's Paris disaster update. And the biggest story of this week is, of course, Iron Maiden's Paris disaster that turned into the band's triumph. And in case if you somehow missed it, well, in a nutshell, Iron Maiden suffered one of the most bizarre technical failures in the band's history when a complete power outage stopped their Paris show about 50 minutes into the set, and which happened right at the end of 2 minutes to midnight. And in case you guys forgot, this wasn't just another random concert on the band's Run for Your Lives tour. I mean, Iron Maiden specifically chose Paris gig to be professionally filmed for the future live release, which we all have been direly anticipating for years now. And although the band eventually did return on stage about an hour later, because of the venue curfew and public transport restrictions, they only had enough time to finish the main set, meaning the entire encore had to be dropped and not recorded for that live DVD. Of which, by the way, I spoke quite extensively in the separate episode this week, so just check it out if you haven't seen it. But the most important thing is that after I released that video, Iron Maiden actually issued a statement, and now we know a little bit more about what actually happened that night. And so, despite the initial reports, according to the information from the French newspaper Le Figaro and electricity distributor Enedis, that power outage was not actually caused by the extreme heat and did not originate from the public power grid, but was actually caused by La Défense Arena's own electrical installation. Which in plain words means that the arena was simply absolutely not prepared for the show of such a caliber that night.
That's quite big.
And even more, there is actually an official investigation going on right now, which is set not only to determine what actually caused that problem, but also why the flip, the arena did not have any reserve power. But the most important thing is, of course, what is going on with the DVD, and whether A, it is still happening, and B, we'll be getting a full Run for Your Lives experience on that one. And according to Bruce Dickinson, yes, to both. As addressing that question directly, Bruce Dickinson said, like every other challenge Iron Maiden have faced over the years, we'll find a way to deal with and overcome the missing songs in the encore when it comes to the final film. Basically confirming that the band will record Ace is High, Fear of the Dark, and Wasted Years elsewhere and include it on the DVD. Which of course is simply amazing news and just the thing that we all predicted in our initial video.
Yes, that's true.
And so now the only 2 biggest questions that still remain to this very day is A, where exactly Iron Maiden will record the missing songs, which I think most of us kinda assume will be at the Nebworth Festival, but it might not actually be so. We'll see. And B is how the flip I was actually able to predict the No Fear of the Dark concept with this t-shirt. Which, by the way, thank you guys so much for, well, your increased interest to it, and for so many of you actually wanted to rock it out at your future Iron Maiden concerts. But anyways, what new music did you listen to this week? Please let us know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Please don't forget to like it, comment under it, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word about it. And of course, join our communities on Instagram, X, Threads, Facebook, Discord, anywhere else you can post content these days. I actually post quite different content on other social media platforms. But most importantly, thank you so much for all your support, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!